The individual recognized in history as Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born on January 17, 1899, in Brooklyn, New York, USA. His father, Gabriel Capone, was a barber who immigrated from Angri, a small village located near Naples in southern Italy. Gabriel, alongside his wife Alfonsina, also known as Teresa Rolla, a seamstress, had 9 children. The Capone family arrived in Brooklyn in 1893 after first immigrating to the port of Ria in Austria-Hungary, which is now part of present-day Croatia. Initially, the family settled at 95 Navy Street in the Navy Yard area of downtown Brooklyn. During this time, the 1890s through the 1910s marked a significant period of mass migration of Italians to the United States. Nearly 4 million Italians immigrated to the country during these decades, seeking to escape widespread poverty, overpopulation, and a lack of opportunities in their homeland. The Capones were part of this wave of migration and were not alone in their journey, as many Italian families found their way to Brooklyn. In 1909, when Alphonse was 11 years old, the Capones relocated from Navy Street to the Park Slope neighborhood in Brooklyn. Alphonse was one of 8 siblings, Vincenzo, who would later become a prohibition agent under the name Richard Hart to avoid associations with his criminal brother, Raphael James, nicknamed Bottles, who would later take control of Al's liquor empire, Salvatore, also known as Frank, who would work for Al, and a sister, Ermina, who tragically passed away at the age of 1. His other siblings included Ermino, later known as John, Albert, Matthew, and his surviving sister, Malala Capone. At the outset of his education, Alphonse showed promise, bringing home excellent academic results to his proud parents. However, he struggled with the strict rules of his Roman Catholic upbringing and was expelled from school at the age of 14 for striking a female teacher. After this incident, Capone's formal education ceased, but his introduction to the world of crime had only just begun. He began working various odd jobs, including assisting in a bowling alley and a sweet shop, amidst the crime-ridden environment of Brooklyn. During his early years, Capone came into contact with gangsters, such as Johnny Toro, an Italian-born criminal with a shrewd and unassuming nature, whom Capone admired and regarded as a mentor. It was during this period that Capone was exposed to the influence of organized crime, which was a prevalent part of daily life in Brooklyn at the time. Capone's criminal activities began to take shape when he joined small-time gangs, including the Bowery Boys and the Junior 40 Thieves in Lower Manhattan. Eventually, he became involved with the Brooklyn Rippers, and later, the notorious 5 Points Gang, the most powerful gang of the era. Although there was no formalized national syndicate of the Italian-American mafia at this time, a loose alliance of gangs in New York and other cities often acted in shared interests. By 1917, Capone's employer and mentor was Frankie Yale, a protection racketeer who extorted payments from local businesses in exchange for his protection. Yale operated the Harvard Inn in Coney Island, where Capone worked as a bartender and doorman. It was during this time that Capone acquired the infamous nickname Scarface, a moniker he despised. One evening, while working as a doorman at the Harvard Inn, Capone became embroiled in a confrontation with a local gangster, Frankie Galluccio, after accidentally insulting Galluccio's sister, Lena, with a poorly executed compliment. In the ensuing altercation, Galluccio slashed Capone's face with a knife, leaving a permanent scar on the left side of his face. This scar became a distinguishing feature that Capone was always conscious of throughout his life, and he often avoided having his photograph taken due to the prominent scar. Al Capone took deliberate measures to conceal the origin of his distinctive facial scars. He attempted to ensure that any photographs of him were taken from angles that would obscure the marks. Additionally, he falsely claimed that the scars were the result of a war injury sustained from a German gunner in the trenches of the First World War. This assertion, however, was a clear fabrication, as Capone had never served in the military. Among his closest associates, Capone was often referred to by the nickname Snorky, a contemporary slang term for a stylish and well-dressed individual. Over the course of his life, he also acquired other monikers, including Big Al, Big Boy, and most famously, Public Enemy Number 1. Following the altercation with Frankie Galluccio that resulted in his scars, Capone harbored a strong desire for retribution. However, he was compelled by influential figures within the criminal underworld to make a superficial reconciliation with Galluccio instead. Galluccio, recognizing the gravity of the situation, extended an apology for the incident, and in response, Capone pledged not to seek revenge, a promise he upheld even after rising to the position of a powerful mob boss. One of the key reasons for Capone's decision to reconcile with Galluccio was his acknowledgement of his own role in the conflict. Furthermore, he understood that Galluccio had acted in defense of his family. The concept of familial loyalty was deeply significant to many Italian-American gangsters of this era. This principle was further exemplified in Capone's personal life. When his girlfriend, Mary Josephine Coughlin, gave birth to their son, Albert Francis "Sonny" Capone, in December 1918, marriage was considered the natural next step. The couple wed just a few weeks later, on December 30th, 1918,